We're in the dirt shed and welcome to this week's edition of Ask GMBN.
Yeah, we're going to try and answer your questions. If you have any, leave them in the comments section down below this video. Right, let's kick this off. First question comes from Dean Linsdell. Hey guys, I've started training. He's doing the around the clock session that I do in my enduro training video, and he's done the GCN 30-minute fat burning, but he still finds that when he's flying downhill, his legs start to ache.
Well, I guess it's slightly different to when you're pedaling, isn't it? You're in that static position on the bike, your legs start to get fatigued, they get tired, and that's when the muscle burn really comes in. So what you're probably going to have to find is that you want to do a little bit of gym work. We've got a few videos already on this, and I could probably point you in the direction of 7 bodyweight exercises.
Yeah, it's definitely about leg strength, that is. Okay, Nathan Carney says his rear shock makes a sort of liquid noise when it compresses. Does this mean anything?
It's probably not necessarily a bad thing. You might need to give it a service. You could think about taking it to a suspension expert, but likely it is just a compression damping system doing its thing and actually just smoothing out the bumps for you.
Yeah, I've definitely had that from brand new shocks before. It just depends sometimes on the, you hear the oil going through all the different.
It's a bit of a funny noise, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. George McCurrick, is there a way of realigning the rear mech hanger on a bike?
Yeah, you can bend it, can't you?
Yeah, you can buy a big professional tool that you screw into it, and then it basically measures the gap to your rim. So you go around making sure it's straight in all different directions, but you can do it with an adjustable span. You just have to be very careful.
A bit more of a ham way to do it, but you can do it. I've done it before.
Yeah.
You just have to be careful and look straight down onto the derailleur hanger and make sure that it is going in the right direction.
Just bear in mind that if you've bent it a lot, bending it back will weaken it, so it's often worth just buying a new one anyway.
Yeah, and it's always handy. One of my top tips is to have a few mech hangers, because if you go somewhere, chances are you're not going to get the specific one for your bike.
Top tip. Tell you what I do is if I bent one, I straighten that out and make that one my spare one and then buy a new one.
I even carry one sometimes in my riding rucksack when I go on big trips.
Congratulations.
Cheers.
Till Newbecker. How would you repair a broken chain? Well, check out this video.
Split the chain just behind the affected links. Now before we do that, it's worth mentioning that you have to make sure that the two ends of the chain are different. So you've got one narrow bit and one wide bit so that it'll actually join together.
Tilsy23, hashtag AskGMBN. Hey guys, what would be the quickest way to build endurance?
It's a bit of a catch-22, isn't it? It's not really a quick way. You're going to have to put some effort in, you're going to have to do training. Fasted rides are probably the quickest way to build it up. Have a black coffee before, really accelerates the system, and then go for quite an easy-going ride. Not easy-going, but you don't want to be working super hard.
Endurance is all about long, low-intensity rides, so there's no quick way of doing it, really.
I guess one of the quickest ways was that you could actually go for a run.
Ooh, run.
Yeah, who'd have thought, huh? This is mountain biking. What am I thinking?
Colger, can you make a video on how to ride large road gaps or any tips? Is it the same technique as big drop-offs? Pretty much, I would say so. It depends on the sort of scale of the road gap. Quite often they're sort of almost as long as they are down. So yeah, it's a bit like a big drop-off.
Or it could be a big jump.
Yeah, definitely learn your bunny hop and your manual and get confident doing it.
Jumping technique, nailing doubles.
Yep. It does take quite a while to sort of get the experience of knowing to judge the speed correctly, I suppose. Just journeying. Please explain the metric shocks from RockShox. I don't know. What is this, Scott? This metric system?
Yeah, it's a bit of a, I guess not really anyone knows a huge amount about it, but what RockShox are trying to do is make it that little bit easier when it comes to getting spares, sort of fitting parts and then retrofit. At the moment there's hydraulic systems, there's also cable actuated systems for locking it out, and in the future there's talk of electronics. So basically what they want to do is make it all interchangeable so you can swap things in and out with whatever shock you have.
So it's literally, they're making it a standard-ish size metric, like 100mm or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, just to make it a little bit easier so you can actually fit things, maintain it yourself, and so you're not carrying, if you're a bike shop, loads of spare parts.
Makes sense. I remember like buying shocks when they're 9 inches by 2.75 inch stroke and all that.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, Paul has got a Charge Plus bike and it says the tyre recommends a minimum pressure of 30 PSI, but that feels a bit hard. I've got a Plus bike, you don't have one, do you? I run mine about 18 to 20, so yeah, quite a lot softer than a normal bike. 30 PSI is pretty hard for a Plus bike, I would say, so yeah, try that, 18 to 20.
It's all about experimentation really with tyre pressures, full stop.
Yeah.
finding out what works well for you, if it's too slow when you're pedaling uphill, or if you're getting extra grip on the downhills.
Yep. Thefin has got quite an interesting question. It's about motorbikes actually. So enduro motorbikes use bib mousses. Have you heard of those, Scott? They're basically like big inner tubes made out of soft, squashy, sort of spongy mousse, so you can't puncture them obviously. And he's asking, why do mountain bikes not have these? That's a good question. I suppose at the moment, Tubeless is the best option we have for not puncturing.
Procore?
Procore. I've always wondered myself, I used to have mousses in my motorbike and they're brilliant, but you can't really play around with pressure because it's such a solid thing, and when they start getting worn out, they'll get softer. So I guess that isn't ideal for a push bike when your tyre's going to start flopping around a little bit.
Have you tried Procore though? It is,
I have, yeah. I've found it to be really good.
Yeah,
actually.
I'm mega into it, I've got to say.
Yeah.
Definitely for winter and wet riding conditions, I felt that just gave the tyre a little bit more support. Sort of a rounded edge, you know, digging that a little bit more.
Quite heavy though, so I only run one in my back wheel just to save a bit more weight. And I'll send you over. You should check out this how to fit tubeless tyres video. On the back of the bottle, there'll be a volume marking. It'll tell you how much of this to put in for your tyre size. And that's the way I put it in. Pour it straight into the tyre like that. The alternative method, maybe you'd use this if your tyre was really tight to get on. You just get that tyre onto that rim. And then you can use one of these to put the sealant actually through the valve and into the tyre. But for me, that's a little bit more faff. It's a quick fire round. First question comes from Calais Sajko. What are the benefits of using 26-inch downhill bike over a 27.5?
Faster to accelerate, stronger, stiffer, and I guess more manoeuvrable.
But not a lot, tiny bit. Santiago Garcia, are there any advantages of inner tubes?
Not really in my eyes, but there are for dirt jumpers, and they're cheaper and they're easier to use. You don't need a specific tyre.
Yep. Mustache, Cash, Stash, are triple chainrings dead?
Yes.
Probably. Spyrex 2, was Neil a pro enduro rider before? Yes, I was, and downhill before that. Has a MTB. What does the 40 mean on Fox 40s?
Oh, well, if I just get these forks in.
36, 34s, these are.
These are 34s. It's to do with the diameter of the stanchion, so it's 34 millimeters across there, and then 36 millimeters on the 36, and 40 on the 40s.
Well explained. Okay, correct me if I'm wrong, where you send your videos to ask@GMBN.com and we check them out and we give you some tips. This one comes from Pedro Ortiz in Puerto Rico, and he's having a pretty big crash on a jump. He's asking what he's doing wrong. Too much speed, or is it because he's riding a 29er?
Not the 29er.
No. That's a massive.
That's like a fails and bails, and they correct me if I'm wrong.
Massive over the bars, obviously. It looks to me like you're hanging really far back as you hit the jump. Obviously, yes, you are going too fast as well. But that is a problem. A lot of people do that when they get scared. They decide that they want to go over the back of the bike. But actually what happens then is your rear suspension is going to compress really hard, and then it's going to kick you forward, and that's what sends you over the bars.
Which is actually what happened. He got super bucked on that one. All of the weight went to the front. So when he landed, the weight was on the front wheel. He buckled under the weight of the bike and went out the front door.
Massive crash. Hope you're right, Pedro. And try and stay more central until you hit the jump and then move back. But check out my how to bunny up and how to jump video where I show you the timings of all those things.
Don't forget, of course, if you have any questions, to leave them in the comment section below or send them to ask@gmbn.com and use that hashtag AskGMBN.
And we'll find them. Click over here for our top 10 upgrades for your bike.
And perhaps you want to see what it's like to descend 1,000 meters, click somewhere just right here. And the logo, globe, which is right here, you can click on that to subscribe and you'll get a great video every day of the week.
Logo.
Logo, globe logo, whatever. Click it.